record button this time. I've had a couple of close calls lately. Hello, everyone. It's so nice to see you. I have got Ann Richardson here back by popular demand. We have got so many juicy things to talk about, but there are timely subjects. And I consider Ann, along with gorgeous, talented, funny, fun, but very wise. So I think this is going to be a really interesting phone call. You guys know the score, quirky questions only. I will pass them through to Ann, and she will see the chat afterwards. So if anybody wants to make sure want to say something to her, I'll send it to her afterwards. And I want to dive right in because half of our audience and people watching YouTube, and even if it's not this year and they're watching this next year, it'll be the same exact thing, are going to APAC, and half of the people aren't going to APAC. And the half that are going to APAC, now I've got to say I don't understand this bit, because this would be the one bit that would really be exciting to me. The what to wear, oh my God, I get to show off in front of a whole bunch of people. And yeah, I would just revel in that. But I know that a lot of people that are going are worried. They're, people know me and now I have to meet them. And what are they going to think of me? And how am I going to look? And am I dressing the right way? I've spent a ton of money to come here. How much can I afford to buy new clothes? Do I have to buy all new clothes? Will they, as people do when they, show up places. And then the other half that aren't going are like, that's it. My career's over. I'm not going. So now all those other narrators are going to be wearing their fabulous outfits with rhinestones and kissing the publishers. And then nobody's going to remember me ever again. I might be exaggerating a tiny bit, but actually, if you look at social media, it doesn't seem like I'm exaggerating. People are very, very excited / petrified because I think, and I am definitely this way, not about things like APAC, but people work so hard, and this is a job we love, that sometimes it's easy to confuse our identity, who we are, with what we do. And so success or not success in our job feels like that it could shatter us. And an event like that's so personal. So I love your wisdom and your take on the whole thing and how people should approach. And you're a teacher as well. So I'm sure you're privy to concerns and worries and niggles. And I'd love to hear your experiences going, not going, APAC, getting along with other people. So please, Ann, fill us with your wisdom.
Wow, that's a lot of pressure, Daniela. Here's the thing. I think darn near everybody in this profession, audiobook narrator, has chosen to go down this path because there's something in their soul that this resonates with. I mean, if they think they're going to get in this to earn money, to just, make a quick buck, like all those articles at Publishers Weekly and New York Times say, here's a good 1 of 10 careers to do at home and earn lots of money. Yeah, no, that's not the case.
It shouldn't be as funny as it is, but every single person is laughing.
I know. So here's the deal. Once you dip your toe in the pool, and you know what the consequences, you know what the path is going to be like, you know how hard it's going to be, you know that you'll be narrating at 2-3 o'clock in the morning, dripping sweat, you know that you're not going to go to your neighbor's bunko party because somebody there has a cold, you know that you're going to be narrating during the day, prepping the book for the next narration at night. You know that you will cry with books. You know you will hate some books. Nothing against authors, but not every book is going to speak to your soul. Once you know everything attached to this career and you decide to pursue it anyway, that's because it's lodged in your soul. It's lodged in your heart. And every time you claw a little toehold out in the industry and you make a little progress and you feel so good, it feeds your soul. You are so invested in this and you want to narrate for Everybody. You want it so bad, it physically hurts. Why can't the publishers see how much I want to narrate? Why don't they hire me? Just give me a chance. I'm going to do the best job in the world. That's why it's so painful that it takes so long, because we've tied up our identity with this career. And, as you and I spoke, I don't know if you were recording at the time, you should not tie your identity to a career. Everybody is a unique, beautiful soul who deserves to breathe the same air as anybody else in the world. We all put our pants on one leg at a time. So because you don't go to APAC does not take anything away from the beautiful soul that you are. You pay your bills, you love your pets, you call your relatives or not. You exist and you are worthy without going to a convention and sitting next to the owner of a publishing house. It's so hard to do, though. I mean, that's my take on it, but it's so hard to do. If you could just focus on the beautiful things about yourself. Maybe you're a great gardener. Maybe you clean your kitchen every night before you go to bed. Maybe you don't. Maybe you shelter homeless pets. Maybe you don't. Maybe you sew. Maybe you do beautiful cross-stitching like Leslie Gallagher does. There are wonderful things about you that are not what you do. I just wish I could just send a big poofing hug out to everybody to reassure you that this conference is not going to break your career if you don't go. If you wear the wrong outfit, you're not going to be ostracized and shunned.
And I think you should all wear something with glitter, right? I'm just saying, rhinestones and glitter. Nobody can go wrong with rhinestones and glitter, because even if it doesn't fit, people assume that you meant to do it. So,
Yep. Yep. Own it.
Don't try to fit in. Like, don't just, but I guess, isn't that the practice, though? Making yourself a complete total package without, it's, God, the nature of being an artist.
I know.
You want external validation so badly, and the job is to not need it.
Well, and the other side of that coin is many of us are introverts. We're very happy in our little booth all by ourselves, reading to a stick, and we don't want to. I don't know if anybody else is like this. Me, if I go to a church, I sit in the back pew so I can escape. I can sit and have my spiritual connection. Then I get to run out the door. Do not make me stand up and introduce myself or my family. I'm out of there.
I'm always in the front, and I pretty much put my hand up and talk, even if people aren't allowed to talk.
Oh, I think there's a big difference. A lot of people are so introverted that it's truly painful to stand out. Therefore, we want to conform. We want to wear nice clothing so that we don't stick out and get attention.
But why is attention painful? I'm trying to understand. I'm not being judgmental. I'm just trying to understand.
I think in addition to being introverted, and anybody's glance that lasts longer than a millisecond feels like a burning laser, and you wonder, is my shirt buttoned? Do I have salad on my teeth? In addition to that, I think a lot of us at some point in our life have felt bullied for something we did that called attention to ourselves.
I was talking to a friend yesterday, though, about that, because we both had very similar childhoods and upbringings, and we both reacted different ways, where she did what you were talking about. And so I said, what do you do when you're at APAC? I won't say who, obviously, but and she was like, if I want to dance, I dance, but I kind of stay by myself. I stay in my own protective kind of, and we're different, because she was like, I never wanted attention like that. And I remembered being a kid, people didn't pay attention to me. I used to put my grandmother's lingerie on and run streaking by the kitchen dining room table to get attention. So it's which is also not, I say it like I'm bragging, it's just my nature, I can't change it. But it's also not because you spend your whole life questioning, did I hurt their feelings? Did I stick my foot in it? Oh my God, why did I say that? That kind of thing, where at least an introvert, you have a modicum of self-control. Yeah.
Yes, but you don't have a modicum of the 3 a.m.s. Introverts at 3 a.m. will invent egregious things that they did in third grade. It'll come back up at the surface.
Really?
Whether it happened, whether it's valid or not. I know many, many introverts that have this 3 a.m. thing where their brain just goes, bing, I'm awake. And do you remember back in kindergarten when you stole your neighbor's peanut butter and jelly sandwich? You've scarred him for life, and now he can't be married and have a successful life. You know, it's a thing. It's really a thing. So I think the defense, it boils down to fear of the unknown. People are more
Yeah.
comfortable knowing what it feels like to isolate themselves and protect themselves by being quiet and small. They enjoy that. They know that. They know what that feels like. And it's unknown to be up in the spotlight, because what if they belch? What if they say something wrong? They're going to feel like, oh, the possibilities are endless. I could be ridiculed. I could be shunned. I'm going to run off the stage in tears. That would be horrible. And I'll forever be remembered for that. And so I don't want to call attention to myself or be stupid or embarrassing or anything.
So I guess those people that have morning rituals, of which I'm not one of them, it's been a long time since I've seen a morning, but I think those people, I guess the whole point of those rituals, they do, what is it? Gratitude, quiet. I can't remember writing out a brain dump, gratitude, quiet, artist way kind of thing. But I guess the whole point of that is they're building a quiet inner strength so that this other stuff doesn't sway them. Tim says, worse yet, what if I'm not accepted by my peers and can't figure out why?
Mm-hmm.
But you see,
Exactly. So to Tim, I would say, if you can't figure out why you're not being accepted, I don't think the issue probably lies with you. I think it probably lies with everyone else.
yeah.
They are reticent to reach out to people they don't know. And it sucks. It's painful. It's a defense mechanism. I know a lot of people that I've seen people at conferences that I know from social media, but I will sit next to them and I get the vibe that they would like to talk to me, but they don't. They almost, body language kind of almost turn away. And I don't know why. What did I do? Does my breath stink? What? And so when I feel that vibe, I'll reach out and tap them. It's like, hey, good to
Yeah.
see you. How's the family? Or how's your Achilles heel? Or whatever's your tendonitis? And then there's just this flood of like, oh, you broke the ice, and now I can talk to you and I don't look desperate, kind of thing.
And
So,
also the who's more important, which I've had people say to me, I met so and so. I can't, and honestly, I'm not like not giving away names. I literally can't remember who said this to me, but I've heard it over the last like 7, 8 years, several times. I met so and so at APAC. We were good friends online. We'd been in Zoom calls. And the minute someone, quote unquote, more important than me walked up, they turned their back on me. And and talk to them. But then I suspect that some people go there with their list of publishers that are going to get them work and their list of people that they're supposed to shake hands with. They have a very well carried out plan and they're not paying attention. They're not purposely turning their back on someone. They're just trying to execute their plan and manage their stress and social anxiety. And it's not literally, it's not personal. Whereas you're sitting there thinking, and they're not thinking. I don't think. I think they're just like trying to succeed, trying. Anytime you try, it's like a barrier between you and ease, isn't it?
it is. And I agree, Daniela. I'm a very driven person. And if I make a list, by golly, I'm going to work through it. So I frequently apologize up front. If I run off, please don't be offended, but I've had this list and I need to see these people. And if they walk by, I'm going to have to run after them. So I'm really sorry. And maybe that's not politically correct, but I have to be honest about it. Because at some point I probably have talked to that person I'm seeking and told them I would try and find them. And I really want to be true to my word. So it's all so hard. These conventions are so hard. And I've seen it on social media too. Maybe kind of rewire your thinking to, you can have the list of people you would like to connect with, but don't put so much importance on it that the rest of the conference is a blur. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I love the fact that you look at business though, because I honestly, and I'm planning my outfit for 2025. And you guys, if you go 2025, you won't be in a corner because you won't escape the party because I'm at a kegger. My problem is I guarantee I won't book any work. I won't have a clue that the guy next to me was the publisher. We'll have a fabulous party and hopefully I won't do any damage to my career. But I'm not good at that. I know friends that have printed up pictures of publishers and learned their hobbies. I'm not good at that. I can't do it.
And
I just can't.
there's no rule that says you have to. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
beauty of this. And you conducting all these interviews know this better than anyone,
Yeah.
that my methods are not going to work for every one of you. Maybe so, Daniela, you want to go and have fun. Who cares who you're sitting next to? You can go and talk to somebody fun. Me, people who know me well know I am pretty much obsessed. I'm not kidding when I tell my students you need to be voracious if you want to be successful, but I take that harder than any of my students. I guarantee it. I spend more time and energy following my career and trying to be what I think is successful than anybody I know.
I love hearing that. I love that you're so okay. I do have to interject really quickly. Am I allowed to say that out loud, Kim? Okay, I do have to interject before it goes down the line. And then I want to go back to that. Kim Rossi was at a radio conference and nobody was interested in talking to her until Neil Schoen, guitarist for Journey, started flirting with her. My new hero. Oh my God. Now that is some serious networking right there. So the thing is, I love that you just said that I'm obsessed career-wise, but I'm not good at the business side of it. I have a naive feeling that if I just become the best narrator in the entire world, it'll take care of itself. And I love hearing you say in such a refreshingly straightforward way that you don't mind the business side of it then, do you?
No, I don't. Well, I'll tell you what I do mind. Taxes, all those papers down there.
Oh, God, yes.
I hate taxes. I hate accounting. I hate numbers. But no, I enjoy social media to a point. It can get very vitriolic, and then I tend to back off or withdraw from those groups. But you have to know how to market. You have to be able to think strategically. You have to look at new situations and find the opportunity in them. You have to be creative. I mean, the amount of actual narrating that furthers your career is maybe like that. It's everything that goes along with it. Meeting deadlines, making sure you schedule so you can meet those deadlines, doing the research so that you pronounce everything correctly.
Yeah, that stuff I like. I do like that stuff. But the making other people like you part is the part that I get like, they should just like me anyway.
That's my tactic, I love when people like me. More than that, and I don't know if, I'm not even going to say anything. I was raised with a father who had his own small business for 30 years or more, and he was an immigrant, and he had great integrity from what I could see. Now, if my mom watches this, she may have a different opinion. They were divorced when I was very young, so I'm sure she has a different set of lenses that she views him with. But as a child and growing up, there were many times when I heard him on the phone say, yes, I promised this to you and I will get it to you, even though it's 9:55 at night. I will be there in 10 minutes and I will fix your air conditioner. I saw him, he owed a bill to somebody and he forgot about it. And when I, as a kid, reminded him, he was so embarrassed. He went out and bought a 6-pack of beer and went to that guy and took me with him to this client and paid the bill and apologized. He owned it. He said that I reminded him. I mean, the things that remind me of my father are the integrity he showed in his business dealings.
Yeah.
And that's what I carry over into mine. If I say I'm going to make a deadline, I'm going to make a deadline. It might kill me. I'm learning to maybe negotiate. I've twice now asked for a day extra, 1 day extra on a deadline. I try and always do what I say I'm going to do.
It's for a personal point of pride. I said because I had a writer telling me it's okay if you have to. It was like to the wire. And she was like, it's okay if you have to, but I can get them back from the editor until like, 2:30 and I have to run checks and everything. So I'm like, what time are you in your time zone? Right? I was determined and I got it to her at 11 like 49 her time zone. I was like, made the deadline.
Yes.
But it's a point, it feels good for yourself as well. I have somebody that's brought something up. I'm not going to say the name only because in case you've got a current rights holder that, no, they're not. Okay. Kim just said this. It's hard to say no to rights holders that love you, but you've grown past them. I found that there's so many situations when you're not dealing with publishers, you're dealing with your older indie writers, not older as in age, older as in you started working with them at the beginning of your career. Do you not find it's a lot of, do you ever work with any of your old indie writers? Do you have any, like a legacy from when you started? Because I find that once you start sending things to publishers, it's a shock the amount of time it takes negotiating and explaining, and you don't want to, hurt feelings. And they come back and they ask you to redo chapters, and you're like, I'll need to charge studio, and you feel bad because they're your friend, and I should just, but that becomes a problem. Nancy Peterson told me, my rate is my rate. It's not something I still, that's why I like working with publishers, because I don't have to worry about any of that.
Yeah,
But
totally.
how do you handle it?
I think I have one client whom I honor a lower rate than I should. But I just really love this client, and
Yeah.
they only do one book every 3 or 4 years. So, or 5 years maybe. So it's not a big deal, but it was like one of my first clients, and I learned so much from that. And I will honor a rate with that person forever because of us growing together.
Yeah,
But I
I
will
have a
say
few of
this.
those that like I would do anything for you. I would
Yeah.
remortgage my house for this writer. You know.
The other ones that started out in a similar situation but don't carry such sentimental attachments, I have used this phraseology. I am so sorry. Well, actually, I don't tell them I'm sorry. I don't want to start with an apology. You don't want to
Yeah.
plant that seed because they'll use it. They'll use it.
Yeah.
What I have said is my rate has increased because my business model has changed to grow my company, and I can no longer honor that rate. This is my rate now. So I use my business model as my explanation as to why I can't accept that low rate anymore. And if they go away, they go away. Yes, I'll be sad for about a minute and a half. And the thing about the thing that you mentioned, you have those legacy clients.
Mm.
It's funny that the clients, I haven't had any in the audiobook world, but I did a couple of voiceovers for Stupid Cheap. Those are the projects that grow legs and walk around. They are worse than the highest paying client. They are high maintenance and
Yeah.
tedious, and they make you redo stuff. And the pain point for me now is about this big, I mean, I read the description of the job and I just turn off my computer. It's like, no, no way.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's got time for that.
I have a few that I should not entertain, and I still haven't. I convince myself, oh, just this person, I'll never do it again. It's
Yeah,
just, can you redo this and can you redo that? And they don't understand the must be a completely finished manuscript part.
that's the worst.
Yeah.
That's the worst. Yeah. No, it's sad because some of those people are friendly and lovely people and they don't have the deep pockets that can turn their book into an audiobook, and that is unfortunate, but that's not your responsibility to fulfill their dreams.
I think maybe because also, to Kim's point, the narrator that they loved isn't the same narrator, because you change exponentially in this job
Oh
after a
yeah.
few years. You just become like a different person, and you have one too many of this happening. You're a different person, and they're expecting the old person that was like so grateful that somebody would let them just like do a chapter. But
Yeah. Yeah.
meantime, you're now doing 29 books trying to cook dinner.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. But I guess it's that core, isn't it? We keep going back to the core, like
Yeah.
becoming strong. So do you find, so you said you were driven. I find that interesting because you seem so calm all the time. Do you feel driven in a good, it seems like a positive driven for career success? Are you driven in other areas of your life as well?
Yeah, I think I probably am. Um, my pets, my animals, any animal that I own, it gets the best I can give them. My horses, their stalls were clean. They were in fluffy sawdust. They had clean water. I always take really good care of my pets. Um, Gosh, what else am I obsessive about? Uh, just working. I like to work out. I need to be out in nature. I need to be outside. I need to exercise my body. So yeah, I'm kind of obsessive about those things too.
How do you find
Obsessive is too
time?
strong.
How do you find time though? Because I got to tell you, I've started just taking stupid walks. Your whole day, if you record and you take an actual walk outside of the house and then do your errands, that's it. Like, what time are you people waking up?
Early, early. I'm an early riser. But I'll tell you, I'm not, I was going to say obsessed is too strong a word. Strongly inclined, I'll say, because if something better comes up, oh, I'm the first to ditch it and go do something different. Like,
Disciplined. You sound disciplined.
ooh, I wish I were better at that. I'm fairly disciplined, but not rigidly disciplined. My husband is rigidly disciplined. He's the kind of person who sets a routine. His mother was this way too. I love my mother-in-law. I still love her, but she's passed away. But she was so good at a routine. She had her hair done every Thursday for probably 60 years.
I love
That
that. That's old school. I've always wanted to be one of those, have my hair done and my nails once a week.
hmm
Grooming is like, I love that.
Yeah, it takes a special personality. And my husband is that way. He can keep to a routine very well. Me, I'm not so good at that. But I will get it done. I'll force myself to do it. I have a hard time setting a routine and keeping it
How long have you been narrating again?
since 2008.
Okay, so what have you learned in business? As our conversation we were having, I was saying to Kim, you're a different narrator than you were when you worked with those. How are you a different narrator than you were in 2008?
I'm
Like
not so desperate
business. Let's go business
business
first.
wise.
Yeah.
Uh, that's a tough one because I started out with a very strong business background. I was
Mm.
an admin assistant for 10 years in that general work. area. So I started out with a very strong business background, and I don't think that's changed much. Different, just I have more confidence when I approach new people and new things. I have more confidence. I know that I can do hard things. And I also know, and this only, I'm not even all the way there, but the older I get, the more solid it gets. And only within the last couple of years has it really latched on, is that I know I can do hard things. But if something were to go wrong, if I've done everything I can do to fulfill my obligations and do an excellent job, if something goes wrong, I'm not a bad person.
You've built the
I'm not
core.
I'm not a failure. And that is
Yeah.
so hard, because my self-worth for all my life has been tied to my productivity and my
Yeah.
perfectionism.
Yeah.
And if I fail at something, I feel like a failure, and that's no way to live. I don't recommend that at all.
How did you get to the other side of the feeling that way? Was it a sudden epiphany, or was it a long haul, or is it still hard and you go back to it? How did you make that change?
All of the above. I think the biggest thing that helped me was that um, I took some training during the pandemic. It was really hard for a lot of people. And I realized how wonderful I had it. One day I was just contemplating how wonderful my life is. I have so much to be grateful for. And there's a lot of people who are really suffering in this pandemic, not just suffering because the world has shut down, suffering because the world has shut down and they are now forced to be in their house with an abusive partner,
Yeah.
or to be in their house with not enough food. And that really sunk its teeth into me. So I reached out to my local shelter crisis counseling line thing, and I took the 70, 80-hour training to man the crisis line. And through that training, it really opened my eyes to how people see themselves, how they think other people see them, and why they act the way they do when you don't understand, maybe you were perfectly nice to them, but they got their feelings hurt. To take a step back and figure out that there's a whole history of what happened to them in their life, why their feelings are hurt. And it may not be anything that you did, but you need to honor that that's a legitimate feeling. So taking that 80-hour training really opened my eyes to the fact that it's really not productive to tie your self-worth to things you don't have control over, or even things you do have control over. I mean, we can all just try to be the best people that we can be, but for example, APAC, don't please don't feel like your self-worth or your opportunities in this career path are tied to attending a conference in New York
Yeah.
or meeting that certain producer. Sorry about that. Um,
Or
I should
ticking the
have
right
said,
boxes, or fitting into the quote unquote in crowd. He made me realize, I keep cutting you off, but so many brains, there's so many synapses connecting at this moment. You say that you're good at business and that you have a plan when you go to APAC and everything. I hope I'm not going off on a tangent. I swear this makes sense in my mind. But you're saying that that's what I think of as business. It's really weird differentiating the actual business between the social media version of who's successful and who's not successful and who's booking all these jobs and who's promoting the jobs they're booking more than what do you consider the
no, it is a
business?
reality of it. It is a reality of it. I think that we kid ourselves, you and me, and maybe a lot of you on this call, we're in the social media bubble. We're in the narrator's social media stratosphere. There's a whole other world of narrators that aren't on social media, and they're doing great.
Really great, some of them.
Oh, yeah. So that's when I feel depressed, that maybe I feel like I should be doing something differently or seeking a different route or whatever. I take a step back and I tell myself, you know what? so and so is just a knock your socks off narrator, and they don't seem to be living and dying on social media. They seem to be doing just fine, and I can't find them on Facebook.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think I'm
Jeff
going to try
Harding,
that.
I bring this up on every single call. I want to interview the guy. He is unreachable.
Well, no,
How
but
are
no,
you that
what's his name?
successful?
No,
Huh?
no, what's his name's going to reach out to him for you.
Nope, couldn't get him.
Really?
Yeah. I
Um,
still can't get him. Surely, what is that,
Scribe.
20 degrees of separation? Surely someone that knows someone that knows someone is neighbors with Jeff Harding. The guy probably thinks I'm a stalker at this point. He probably I'm on the call because I
Have
bring
you,
it up every call.
have you followed all the avenues trying to find his contact info?
Yeah, I mean, aside from like writing to his agent, but you feel a little bit like, that, what was that show? Oh, what was that show with the two guys? There was a girl that really liked the guy Charlie, and she kept climbing in over the balcony. It was a TV sitcom in America. Does anyone know? Type it in the box or tell me. Um, I feel like her if I go to the point of contacting someone's agent, like Two and a Half Men, and the girl, the brunette, she kept climbing over the balcony, and she would like appear from nowhere. That's how I feel like if I like you go too crazy trying to reach someone, you know.
Okay, so here's the way I look at that. If I want something, I will exhaust all the avenues. But
Wow.
I will, if they tell me to back off or whatever, if I kind of perceive that I'm
If
being
they
a
get
creep.
out a restraining order.
Yeah, then that might be a ding ding moment. But reach out to the agent. What harm can that do?
I might do it because I'd like to interview some of these narrators that avoid social media like the plague. Because Gildart Jackson doesn't do social media, and I learned so much. I learned so much from that call. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just sit
It-
back. So for those of you who feel like this is our world and why aren't you getting noticed? Take a step back and just work on your craft. Just
yeah.
be voracious. There's so many opportunities now, Danielle. I'm sorry, I went off on a tangent. Like
You went off seriously.
I just kind of hijacked the discussion.
Tangent away.
There's a lot of workouts out there now. Like I
Yeah.
think Krista Lewis still does one on Monday nights. Chris Shula does one on Thursdays. Shannon Parks has one. Tons of narrators, instructors have workouts, and those are
Yeah.
much cheaper than full out classes.
Yeah. I
Keep
told my
your
friend that the other day because they were like, I can't afford a coach to go over my demos. And I'm like, literally, you go on Clubhouse, they're doing it. I don't even think that one costs.
Mhm.
You know, it's there's always a way to get done. Because I tell you that I'm putting myself through summer school? I'm
You
so
are. What are you
excited.
studying?
Well, okay. So I was thinking, all those things that you want to do. And when you're a kid, you have to go to school. So you've got designate, and there's always like the cool class that you've always wanted to take. So I'm giving myself 3-week increments, 3-week slots. And each of the 3 weeks, I'm choosing a subject that I've always wanted to learn or pay attention to. So one of them is noir movies, the classics. I
How
never get to go
cool.
back and watch them. I've like fascinated by them, saw them when I was young. I want to watch them all. So for 3 weeks, I'm doing a schedule, 4 days a week. I'm spending an hour on noir movies, right? And then the other one, I'm teaching myself go-go dancing. There's so many. I'm teaching myself Italian for 3 weeks, and I can go back and do, level 2 of the course at a later date if it's something stuck. But I'm really excited. It starts next week, and I can't wait.
That's amazing. That's how you keep your brain young. I
Yeah,
love that.
yeah, I can't
What,
wait.
so my favorite noir movie is Laura.
Ooh, I haven't seen that.
You haven't seen that?
I'm gonna take a poll. So that'll be my first on the list. I'm gonna take a poll of like the best and the classics. And I'm having a female icons, 3 weeks of that, the best, most famous female movie stars, in the movies, and then I'm gonna have three
Mhm.
weeks of the men. And yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah, look up Laura, Vincent Price.
Laura.
I think
Vincent
yeah, Vincent
Price.
Price. He's
Is that,
young,
and
young.
it's noir.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's a
okay.
detective show. Yeah.
I'll kick it off with that. I'm so excited. And I'm going to dress up during Noir Week.
You need a fascinator.
Yeah, yeah, I'm
And
serious. I'm
like
going all in.
fishnet stockings,
Yeah.
red high heels, patent leather.
Tempted to
Yes.
start smoking, but
How funny. I love that. That's amazing. I just love that. Keep your mind young, doing different things.
I have to be, my father was a larger than life character and was always busy with something that he was like, making beer, hanging prosciutto. He bought a goat in the suburbs in California. That went over big with the neighbors. But he was bigger than life. And I remember saying to an uncle, oh, yeah, because when he grew up, my father learned how to do all this stuff. And the uncle was like, nope. Your father grew up in Rome. He was a city boy. He didn't have a clue about any of this. He taught himself. He followed what he loved. And I admire my friends that passionately follow what they love. I'm a Gemini, so I'll only love something for 3 weeks, but I'm going to follow what I love because how much, because then you're happy yourself anyway. And we all know Karen will tell us, if you build a happy person, the good stuff will come to it. I'm not quoting her directly, but
It's
you know what I
the
mean?
law
If
of
you're good
attraction.
energy, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And that's why, that's why the gratitude thing I think is very important because if you get into a habit of doing it, you kind of change your thinking a little bit. So like I'm looking outside and it looks like it's a hurricane. I mean, it's pouring rain and the wind is driving and stuff, but what I'm seeing is the California poppies are blooming. It's because
Oh,
the rain. It's beautiful. And so you don't want to plant the seed of negativity. So like I said earlier, I to those legacy clients, I'm sorry, but no, don't
yeah.
plant that seed. There's no reason to apologize. Or if you go to if you're on social media and somebody says, I love your outfit, and you say, oh shoot, but there's a rip in the sleeve, and I stop that. Say thank you. It's a nice thing. It's a good thing.
And
So
getting ready to go to APAC instead of what can I wear? Oh God, does this look right? Does this look stop. I'm
yeah,
dressing for someone. Start with let's play dress up. I'm going somewhere exciting.
there's a lot of ways you can reframe what's happening
Yeah.
in your life or the way you look at something. And when you have that shift, other people can see it. Like I bought the ugliest boots, but I'm gonna wear them because I think they're really cool looking.
Ooh, describe them.
They look like very shiny army boots with chains on them.
I think that sounds good. Why are they ugly? What color are they?
Black.
That
They're
sounds
big.
very
It's like
90s.
Frankenstein looking things. I love them.
Very
Um,
cool.
and I tease my husband. He likes to shower. His love language is gift giving, and I don't really like to shop for clothing for myself. It's not my favorite thing. Um, and I bought these ugly boots, and he hates them. He says they're atrocious. Anne, what are you thinking? He snuck out the other day. He was supposed to be getting a haircut, and he came home with these gorgeous green snakeskin boots.
Ooh, I
And
love your husband.
I love him too.
Are you going to wear both? You got to bring both.
Maybe one of each. I don't know.
No, bring both. There'll be lots of opportunities.
I don't want to check luggage, so we'll see. But the green ones might win out. So I was teasing him. I said, I know why you bought these boots. You don't want me to wear those Frankenstein boots. He said, you figured it out. But he's
I,
bought a lot. Back when I worked in admin at a pharmaceutical company, he would buy my professional clothes. He
but the fact that he chose green boots tells you all you need to know about the guy's got style.
These are
I
nice
mean,
boots.
that's a good catch.
Yeah, he's the best. And you talk about something good coming out of something bad. I married him, and the day after we got married, we drove out to California to live here in the San Francisco Bay Area. And I was born and raised in Nebraska, and my lifelong ambition was to well, it wasn't an ambition, but I just thought I would stay there and have a farm and raise kids and do a farming thing. And so it really was a strange dichotomy of marrying the absolute love of my life, my soulmate, and leaving my home. So
Wow.
leaving my home and my family in all of Nebraska was very traumatic for me. But I came to California to be with this man, and my life is so much more than I anticipated. It's so much richer than I could have ever dreamed, that something so wonderful came out of something that also carried so much pain.
But think about what you said. Because I've been thinking a lot about this, because human beings, because of this stupid, all the, the way our brains are set to like learn negative things very, very well so that we can avoid danger, because like we've been doing it our whole life. You do the negative, boring thing and you're still alive. So don't take any risks and do anything fun because that could kill you. But I think, just by default, the older you get, the more of those negative experiences you build up, and your reptilian brain is holding on to them because it's going to remember the dangers to make sure we don't repeat them. So we're building up, we're building up, we're building up, and we're creating this like sludge. But underneath there's this joyous person that, because if you look at the changes, and in the end, it's like, wow, what a joyful change. But at the moment, we're full of angst and anxiety. And so if you look back at yourself from APAC, the people that are scared and worried about going, and my friend was like worried about flying, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to travel. I'm like, oh my God, you get on the plane, you get the shiniest, glossiest magazine, you get somebody's going to feed you airplane food, and you get to watch tons of movies. It's like your own little corner of the world above the sky. I think we forget who we were when we were 10 years old and wisely entranced by life. And we can remember it in the booth because it's someone else's entrancement. But in our own life, this boring, not boring, but grown up, very serious. It's like, look at the dream. You're living a dream,
Mm-hmm.
that you couldn't even have imagined. But if we spend our time being careful, and I don't have to say that to narrators, because most narrators have gotten the guts to chase the dream.
Yeah,
Nobody's a
yeah.
narrator because their parents wanted them to be.
No, most of our parents said, "When are you going to get a real job?"
Yeah.
Not mine, but I've heard it said to a lot
Become
of
a
narrators.
narrator or marry one for the steady income.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, we store up all, oh, you said the reptilian brain. Oh my goodness. That's where you store up all the trauma and the angst and the hurt. But it's such a rich playground to draw on when you're narrating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And writers. Oh my God.
Oh yeah. Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Dark fiction right there. But
Hmm.
yeah, but I want to give credit, but I'm going to butcher her name. Kagi Paget or Paget Kagi or something like that. She's in LA, she's an actress, and um, I happened to go on Clubhouse for like 2 seconds because I wanted to see if I could hear it now that they got that bug out of my ear. So I went on Clubhouse, and
Spider in
yeah,
your ear.
she's talking about like positivity and all that, and the whole that whole thing. But she made a very good point. She said it's like you're, a pebble or something, or a fish or whatever her point was, going up the stream, flowing up the stream, and you're going to get caught on rocks sometimes, but you're still going to flow. You're going to break loose and you're going to flow. You're going to be fine. But what we as humans do, we get caught on the rock and then wrap ourselves around something else and then pull ourselves back. And it's like, what if it's meant to be easy? What if things are meant to turn out well? I never considered that. What if a symptom doesn't mean I'm sick? What if I surprise myself and get something I didn't think I would get? What if it's a happy ending? you know, there's a possibility. Do we ever ask ourselves, what if it all goes, we always go, what if it goes wrong? Do we ever say,
Yeah.
what if it goes really well?
Yeah.
You know, what
I
if you
try
go
to
to
just,
APAC and the publishers love you so much?
yeah, exactly. You got to think about those things. How do you want it to go? And really dwell on that,
Yeah,
you know? And the positivity is just, it's contagious.
yeah, yeah. I think this is the call we needed to have.
Anytime I get to sit and chat with you, Daniela, is gold to me. I love it. You are
Well,
so
you've got to be a
effervescent.
repeat guest, Anne, honestly. With our timing, you guys, isn't this like synchronicity? What is it? Synchronicity is the word? Literally, it's a year ago today that we had the call with Anne. We were like, because you're opening up the spring, and I can't think of anyone better. You should be our regular opening up the spring guest.
Wow, well, I would be happy to
I
if
think
you
that'll be your job,
bring
hearkening
it
in the
on.
spring. Oh my God, I'm losing my words, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, ringing in the March 21st weather.
Leslie said, I taught myself taxes. Leslie, I think you're missing the summer school's got to be fun things.
Do you like them, Leslie? Do you like
did,
taxes?
did you have fun doing them?
I lied to myself and told myself I would be curious and just look at it as a fun challenge to see if I could
Wow.
Did it work?
learn everything about small business finance. So
Did you?
I fooled myself into thinking it was interesting.
That's impressive. That's really impressive. Good job.
Yeah.
I don't know how convinced I really was, but I got them done and filed, and hopefully I won't get audited.
I think go-go lessons next.
Ooh.
I'm telling you, better than taxes.
I keep coming across, your feed carries things. Something came across my reels on Facebook, belly dancing. That's always fascinated me. I
I
can't
love
do
belly
it.
dancing. You can do it. Have
There's,
you ever taken classes? It's really easy.
I can't even twerk. I've tried, my body doesn't move that way. I
You can
can't
do it.
twerk.
Honestly, you've just got to have no shame. I took belly dancing and
No, I think I look like I don't know, something that you stepped on the sidewalk that's laying there. I'm not capable of twerking.
but it doesn't matter if it's there's not a right way to do it. It's the fun
Oh, I
of
think there
doing it.
is. From what she said, there is. She does a lot. She's like, do this, not this. Like, okay, I'm
No,
stuck
but
in the not this.
I think dance. Have you done Gina Rogers?
Rogers, yes, she's got the most gorgeous
I'm
red hair.
so. Have you tried Gina Rogers' dance class?
No, but I've watched it. I haven't tried it, but I've watched it. She is amazing.
Yes, and there's no right or wrong. You just have fun. So go on Facebook, get her next dance class. She does 2 a week. Turn your camera off. Nobody has to see you. Gina understands. I literally do it with like my budgie on my head, so I can't have my camera on. Right. And do Gina's dance class. That is pure fun dancing, and it doesn't matter if you can twerk or not. It is like the closest thing to joy you will ever find. Seriously. And plus she plays music that like I dare someone not to like be in like tears of happiness. I'm telling you, you gotta try Gina's class.
I
Just to
may
say
have to
you've
try
done it
that.
at least once, try it.
Yeah. Okay, I'm absolutely. If you recommend it, then
I
I'm taking notes.
100% recommend it. It's called Just Keep Dancing or Keep Dancing, Just Keep Dancing, I think on Facebook. And she posts like 2 times a week. Leslie says twerking actually comes from West African dance, and yes, it is hard. That's probably why I'm not a good dancer, but because I'm so horrible at it that like I don't try to be good. Although I have always wanted to learn the Charleston, and I think you have to know the actual steps, but oh my God, I'd love to learn the Charleston.
I
It's
bet you can do it.
joy.
My family
Mm,
begs me not to dance. I do it
yeah.
anyway to tease them, but they really shut me down fast when I try.
My husband says the same about me imitating a Scottish accent.
That's too funny.
I'm not allowed to follow him around the house any longer. Okay, you thought you were getting off the hook, but you're not getting off the hook.
Uh-oh.
For the YouTube audience, it's going to be watching this in the next 60 or 70 years. What one thing would you want them to take away from this call? What would you want them to hold in their hearts, or piece of advice, or something to remember? Would you want them to take away from this call?
Wow. Golly, Daniela.
Or even a funny joke. Just what would you like to leave them with?
Number one rule of audiobook narrators, don't fart in the booth. Leslie,
Somebody did that,
speaking from
didn't they?
experience.
Somebody did that though. When I first started, they said somebody did that and it made it into a book in Audible. I don't know if it's like an old
No.
wives' tale, but I was told that. I think most new narrators are told that when we start. Yeah,
Mine wasn't for audible reasons. It was for odoriferous reasons. I mean, you're shut in that little booth. Don't do that to your Oralex foam.
somebody
That
did
will
it, and I
stay
think
with
it
you.
made it into Audible.
Do, Leslie, make that into a cross stitch. So to take away from this call, we didn't
Yes,
really talk
please.
about it very much. We only just kind of tangentially touched on it. But I would say if I could just have one wish, I would like to urge people, give them a little spark to remember to be compassionate to other people. You say you're in the middle of a heated political debate and you're really getting pissed off at that other guy. Stop for a second and would he yell at you to get out of the street if a car was coming? Chances are he probably would. And then, kind of distance yourself, take a step back, but try to be compassionate. All those things about the college kids getting their debt forgiven and all the people grumbling, saying, well, I had to pay, they should pay. No, no, this is a good thing. There are so many different circumstances now than how we grew up and what we're exposed to now, how we can't possibly understand what everybody else is going through in the world. So just take a second and practice a little empathy.
And you keeps going back, because I used to fall. I fell like 50 times, like in a 10-year period. Most of the times ended in fractures.
Oh, gosh. I'm
But
sorry.
but the good thing about that, talking bad to good, every single time it says look for the helpers, every single time somebody went out of their way. When I broke my hand off, guys, like seriously off. And I was carrying the Christmas groceries in a whole bunch of heavy bags home, and they were obviously all over the pavement. And the lady that found me, it was freezing cold, and her daughter sat on their cell phone and called. They waited till the paramedics came, put me in the ambulance. They came to my house, even though they didn't live in London. They came, took my groceries home, came back to my house the next day when I was out of the hospital, and brought my groceries to me. So I still had groceries for Christmas. I mean, they didn't have to do that. I was a total, complete stranger. Every single time I've fallen, and I've got lots of experience in this, people have gone out of their way, and it's not been one kind of person or another kind of person. Any random person that's happened to be there has gone out of their way and with compassion and kindness helped. So the world is full of helpers.
They are, and don't be afraid to be that helper. Yes, you
Yeah.
may be late. Yes, you may wreck your clothes, dirt, blood, whatever. Don't be afraid to be that person. I always told my kids when they were old enough to understand this and be in this situation, don't leave your friends at a party. Don't just assume they're going to
Yeah.
get home okay. Be the person that walks them home. Be the person that calls the Uber. Don't assume someone else is going to do it. And I've had the opportunity to walk that walk and do those things. And I have never regretted it. I would regret walking by. I would regret looking in the mirror the next morning thinking, boy, I wonder if they made it home.
And despite
Or,
what the news tells us, there are more of us that are helpers than aren't.
I hope so.
There really are. There genuinely are. And it's evidenced. It's just like everyone's friends most of the time in a coffee shop. Do you know the person selling you the coffee? You're buying the coffee, and everyone's got bad days, but we forgot to notice, didn't we? That the friend that you see at the coffee shop at the same time every day, you know, the friend that sells you the newspaper. We forgot that.
Yeah. Or think about, instead of getting pissed off that there's a crying baby at the grocery store, that poor mother has probably worked all day. You know, can you help her put something in her cart? I once had, and then I know you probably have to go, but I was in the grocery store one night after a long day at work. I had my youngest son with me, and he was quite volatile as an infant. And I was terrified taking him shopping because I knew he was going to have a meltdown and there was nothing I could do about it, but I had to get groceries. So I was standing there in the checkout line, putting my stuff on the conveyor belt, and he starts in. And so I had to pick him up out of the cart and try to get him to stop. And this old, weazened, very small man finished unloading my cart. And I was a mess. My kid was crying. I was crying. I was so touched. Don't be afraid to be that person.
Yeah.
Ask first, you know, because nowadays you have to ask if you can help someone. They may not want your help.
Really?
And you don't want to cause
Really?
problems. Yeah, but just don't be afraid to be that person.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because I think if we all remember that, then if we all stop believing what we see on the news so much and like just remember who we all are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this was definitely the call we needed today. Thank you, Anne.
Thank you, Daniela. I love your show. I love it.
Well, you are now our welcoming in the spring guest every year.
Happy to do it.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. You've all been a joy. This has been, and for those of you going to APAC, I highly recommend Rhinestones. But either way, I hope you have a fabulous time. And for those of you not going to APAC, rock it away. Yeah, it's going to be fine. And we'll see you 2025. I'm already planning my outfit. We'll go together. So we'll make up for the last year. And it's been wonderful. I wish you the very best. You're a joy every single time.
Thank you. Thank you. I like I say, I love to chat with you guys. Good to see everybody's faces. Bye, Leslie. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Bye.